I'm the 5-Minute Professor, and today's Financial Friday fact is, well, why we chose this name, Drop Dead and Other Words of Wisdom. If you check out the table of contents, you'll find there actually is a chapter which is entitled Drop Dead and Other Words of Wisdom. It's chapter 13. And it starts out talking about my ex-wife, of which I've got plenty. If you want one, I'll give you one. But it is actually not about my ex-wife wishing that I would drop dead. Drop dead is actually a term that is and should be used in your financial planning if you're going to own individual stocks, or even if you're going to own mutual funds or exchange traded funds. The concept of drop dead is an absolute lowest possible price that you'll own something. What it does is that establishes from the very beginning the maximum amount of money that you're willing to put at risk. I'll give you an example of using something aside from a stock. Let's say that you were going to go out and buy a house. But because you viewed it as an investment, not as just a place to live, if the house was valued at $250,000, you would only want to hold it as long as it was increasing in value. It's the same with stocks. If you buy a stock at $25, you want it to increase in value. You're not actually thinking that you own a part of General Electric or Procter & Gamble. You own an asset which has a value, and that value is how much somebody else will pay you for it. Well, if that value decreases, your asset is now worth less. Sometimes people trick themselves. They say, hey, I bought $25. I bought the stock for $25. It's worth $25. No. Your stock is not worth what you paid for it. It's what it. No, your stock is worth what somebody else will pay for it, not what you paid for it. Some people will think, hey, I paid $25. No, that's not the value. The value is what somebody else will pay for it. And when you make that purchase, it's possible for that stock to go all the way to zero. Now, with a stock like General Electric, Procter & Gamble, it's unlikely it's going to go all the way to zero. And even if it does, it's probably not going to go there quickly. But you can absolutely choose a point where if it gets down below this point, I no longer want to own it. Now, there are a lot of things which could factor in to your decision as to whether or not you want to own it at a continued price. It could be a technical analysis, could be a fundamental analysis, or it could just be a number which sounds good to you. For some people, it's 10 or 20%. These people have relatively tight thresholds for pain, for the possibility of loss. If you can't afford for your stock to go down more than 10%, you should say, I bought it at $25, and I can only really, in my heart, sleep at night if the stock is trading above $22.50. Because if it goes below $22.50, I've lost 10%, and that's too much for me. So that's your drop dead point. And every stock should have a drop dead point that you establish at the time that you buy it, not leading up to a time when it's getting close to that. And that's an important distinction, because at the beginning of the trade, you're willing to use logic and reason. You're not really using emotion. Now, when it gets closer and closer to that threshold, you can talk yourself out of some good logic and some good reason with emotion. The emotion that says, I knew this stock was going to trade higher, I should give it more room. Or, I knew that this stock is better than this, it just isn't trading there now. But if I give it time, I'm sure it's going to get better. Those are emotional reasons. The two big emotions that play into whether or not you make or lose money in the stock market are fear. Fear that you're going to lose out on an opportunity, and greed, wanting to get more money out of it. But if you use logic and reason and determine an absolute bottom, drop dead price that you don't want to pay, that you don't want the stock to be worth any less than, logic and reason should win. Perceptum, quispium, damnitium. Learn something, damn it. I'm the 5-Minute Professor, and thank you very much for listening to today's lesson. If you have any comments at all, please put them in the comments section down below. And of course, like it and subscribe to the channel. But most important, if you liked it, if you commented, and if you subscribed, tell your friends. Perceptum, quispium, damnitium. Learn something, damn it.